All right. All right. All right, good evening and welcome to the February 4th, 2026 Plastow Planning Board meeting. Charlene, could you take the roll, please?
Richard Anthony.
Here.
Karen Robinson.
In transit.
Dan Kane.
Here.
Rich Leclerc.
I would assume in transit. I haven't heard anything differently.
We'll find out, huh? Nolan Pelletier.
He might be here, but he had an emergency, so.
Bill Coy.
Let me check. I'm here.
Liz Cost. I'm so glad to be here.
It's kind of a.
And Shay Raymaker.
Here.
All right. Thin lineup today, all right, but I think we have this. Just for purposes, our planning administrator will be participating in tonight's meeting, so we'll just reflect that in the record. That's probably Ms. Robinson as we speak. We have some minutes from January 21st, 2026.
Motion to accept the minutes from January 21st, 2026.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? I think I'll abstain.
It was there. Joiner.
And,
I don't have a vote.
okay.
I'm the silent partner.
It's three. Well, here's Karen.
All right, so the vote then is like 3-1-0,
301.
3-0-1. You have to abstain right there. All right. Welcome. All right, so I guess we'll just move to the next. So we have a public hearing continued from January 21st, PB 25-16, the completeness of an application from Erin Doonan for review of a conditional use permit for a home business that proposes a commissary kitchen for catering within an existing residence. The property is located at 182 Main Street, tax map 29, lot 31, in the MDR zoning district. The property owner of record is Erin Doonan. All right. Just state your name and your address for the record, and then we can proceed from there.
Hi, I'm Erin Doonan. I live at 182 Main Street.
All right.
So I am requesting for reconsideration. Last time we discussed that we did not meet a 25% threshold of habitable space. There's a few points that I'm made in my letter. Do you have a copy of the letter that I wrote?
Yes.
Okay. Did you all get a chance to go through it?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So,
if you just want to walk us through the
Yes.
particulars of it, though.
so first off, I had one measurement that was vastly off. I went down from about 23 feet to about 14.5 feet. My measurer's back there. We just had a little miscommunication.
And you're still going to marry him?
I'm still going to marry him. So I did go and I double checked all of that for you. And I have an updated diagram below. So when I did accurately measure the space, we went down to 796.25 square feet.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So that was about 400 or 500 square feet less. So that brought us down to 26%, over 25%. Very, very close. But if we wanted to go look forward towards that extra 1%, I'm wanted to say that I believe that 2 spaces would be considered a habitable floor area now that I've looked more into what the definition of a habitable floor area is, and that would be defined as a space in a dwelling unit or accessory structure used for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking. I have 2 spaces. I'd like to make the point. One is we have what is considered to be a wine cellar in our basement. It is completely finished. It has nice ambient lighting in there. We don't use it for a wine cellar. Neither of my fiance or I are wine connoisseurs. So we're actually using it as a speakeasy now, in that we can hang out down there and have guests down there. There's no further action for us to finish it. It's a really nice, really cute, unique room for sure. The other argument that I would like to make, before I go on to that, if we do consider this area to be a habitable floor area, that would put our home business percentage at 24.7%, and that falls within the 25% threshold that we need to reach. Lastly, I also want to argue that the rest of my basement is a considered habitable floor area. Some things that are down there, we have workout equipment, we have a tool bench, we have a desk down there. We have a fridge down there. This is a room that is part of our everyday lives. We're down there literally every single day doing something. And I would consider this in contrast to a space like my attic or the second floor of the basement, the second floor of the garage. Those are completely unheated, exposed studs. It is just bare bones, as opposed to my basement, which is, it has heat down there. It's just the same temperature as everywhere else. There's walls, there's no exposed studs on the walls, and it has concrete flooring rather than plywood flooring in my attic and my garage. And so if we did include the basement as well, that would bring us to 18.5%, which would very well, surpass the threshold of where we need to be.
You had the questions last time, so that's why I'm looking down.
Yeah, I still have them. So a couple of things.
Can we just, before we go, are we able to, do you know how to use if we need to advance whatever you need to, that you're talking
Yeah,
about?
there's the figures. Yeah.
So you can, if you want, bring up the garage first. Okay. That's, even though that's the original one and not your revised one, we're working off your revised one. So in your submission, you indicated that you were going to use this entire space for the catering business, storage, the liquor storage, as well as the kitchen space. The way the calculation works is it takes the habitable floor area as the numerator and the space that you want to use as the denominator.
Okay.
So that's 4,200 square feet. There's no way you're going to ever make the 25%, because the 25% is the byproduct of that ratio. If you were to use that entire 4,200 square feet, you'd have to have 16,000 square feet of habitable area in order to use it.
I'm just confused at why I thought we were looking at just habitable floor area.
It's not. That's not the way. The habitable floor area is the limitation. Okay, it's just a defined term. It's the limitation. The space you're using is really the space attributed to the home occupation. In this case, your proposed home business. It's designed to keep these things small. I wrote it. And I know why, I know what I put in here, and I know why. And there was a lot of kvetching throughout the town that we were moving business use into residential use. And I think this ultimately passed through the town because we kept it small. Now, in the context, I don't think all is lost here. I think you got a great business. I want to figure out a way to help you make it work. You have a variance right now, okay, that runs with the property. That variance is essentially for a retail use. And you're already in your submission, you talked about having a limited amount of on-premise activity, tastings and the like. That puts you in the neighborhood of that retail use.
Just by way of context, when we're talking about a variance that's on the property, historically speaking, what are we talking about? There used to be a plumbing business there?
There
Well,
was a
originally-
plumbing business and it took up the entire garage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
they had a frame shop.
subsequent to the plumbing, there
It was
was
It was in
a-
framing
Frame
shop.
shop.
Well, but there is no definition of frame shop in the
I'm
ordinance,
just
so it's a
providing,
That's what
I'm
it
just
was.
providing the
You
history.
need,
associated with it.
what I was trying to do is stick with the definitions because
Okay.
they matter. There was a retail business here. I think there's a fair nexus between catering and retail in some aspects that, and I wouldn't struggle too hard, given the historical business nature of the mixed use of the property and what you're intending to use fitting within the variance. I just don't think it fits within the home business because of the size. It's not the nature of the business. It's not what you want to do. It's the size of the thing. So, even struggling with like going back and looking at these, approximations of space, you're never going to get there. But I think, I think you can get there with the variance. I wouldn't struggle too hard given the consistency. And I will tell you, when this variance was granted in 2013, I went back and looked at the minutes. There was a fair amount of conversation about the historical mixed use of this property. It was owned by the Sanders.
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they owned that property for 100 years,
Right. Exactly.
So, and it was a plumbing business when I moved to town
Yep.
with vastly more
It was.
kind of activity, if you recall.
Oh, there were little trucks.
Then it
Yeah,
was
they were
framing.
always there.
That's in there all the time. Yeah, then it
So-
was framing.
I think there's a way to get to what you would like to do. And I think it's not as a home business. But I'm just one person, but that's just,
Well, let's talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit, just
right.
to parse that out a little bit. If we're saying that we want to get from, if the home business doesn't necessarily work because of the calculation, but there is sort of a history of, retail use, mixed retail use, and a variance that's on the property. How do we get there, to make that
you
happen?
apply for a site plan review and pitch the retail use, the catering and the retail use as being virtually similar enough that you could access the variance. And you don't have to go to the ZBA. This would be given that this would be a modified or amended site plan review, given that there's no change in the footprint or change in really the structure. It's internal construction.
Right.
If I was sitting on the other side of the table, that would be my argument.
Shay, what would be the mechanics of that?
Now,
Just
can we
sort
do
of-
that tonight?
Well, that's what I want,
Well,
that's what I want to know.
It's tough because we got a different application before
A new
us.
a new application would have to be filed so that it's noticed properly.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything specific that we would have to sort of, that some nuance then if we were going to renotice this as a,
Because obviously we want to get it, help them get this done.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
and here's the thing is it's a new application. It's a new application for amended site plan. Wouldn't change too much of the background. I think it works. And the property already has a variance. We believe this falls under the variance. Then it's our duty to kind of voice our view.
Can I confirm that the variance does not go from owner to owner?
It runs with the property.
Okay.
So it as long as it's not otherwise abandoned, okay, which it hasn't been. That frame shop was open like the 2 weeks before you closed. It stays with the property in perpetuity, if you will.
So I'm a little bit confused as if the variance is still in place for a retail, then, and if I qualify as retail, why do I need to do a new application?
Because it's a change in, you're in the kind of
Change in
change in
use.
specific caterer.
Okay.
And what you're going to be before us, we're going to be asked to essentially say that we believe the caterer fits within the retail use. I'm just giving you my view
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I get it.
You know?
Yep.
I don't have that application
Yeah.
in front of me.
I don't either.
Any other nuance that we might be missing with respect to the planning office?
Well, the planning board would have discretion to do sort of the modified site plan process, which it's been using for properties that haven't had exterior modifications. So if that was something that the board wanted to do, that could be within your discretion to have an amended site plan application submitted, again, using like a previous site plan that then has the stamp that gets signed by the planning board and is held on file here, and then the notice of decision is recorded with the registry.
But at minimum, a new application would have to be filed
Yeah,
so that it could be properly noticed
correct.
and such.
It's also a different subject matter, too.
Yes. Now, in terms of, I mean, right now, we don't have, so we actually don't have a site plan. So this is a conditional use permit. Okay, so I'm just want to make sure that we're not,
No, they do have a
Yeah,
site
they
plan.
do have
Yeah.
a site plan.
I have
That's
a
what I'm
site plan
asking.
here, and we are not changing any exterior.
right.
So that's why I didn't know whether we can do something now, tonight at least.
You can't.
Well, no, we can't. Yeah,
You can't.
we still have to notice it, give people a chance to opine on the subject.
Believe me, I'd like to, but you can't.
Yeah.
No,
All right,
I just
so-
wondered who are we waiting for to okay it?
It's us. We have to okay.
Right.
But we have to okay a specific application in front of us, which we do not have right now.
But this one doesn't work.
No. In my opinion.
We should be able to do it in one meeting, though.
So I guess what we're talking about, if we were to have, a properly, a new application submitted, right, along the lines of what we've discussed, would this board be amenable to, discussing whether or not an amended site plan that's, if there's not anything substantively changed from what we have here, from the previous site plan?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
My view.
okay.
Yeah, and I'd say put it on as soon as we can,
Yeah.
That's right, exactly. Get it done.
so we can get them going.
Any questions?
So I would not be able to go to the next planning board meeting, which I believe is 2 weeks from today. Would you prefer that I submit the variance for that meeting, or should I wait until the following meeting?
I don't think you're not submitting a variance. You're going to be resubmitting a new application. All right.
But I guess the question
Going
is,
to
can we do it,
exploit-
can we do it
it's gonna
without
exploit
her,
the variance.
without her being here?
Let's do it.
I don't want
And
that to
way there-
jeopardize.
And that way there, she'll come back and boom, it'll all be done.
Right.
Well, we don't know what the application looks like.
No,
We don't know if
pending
there's-
if the application looks good.
I mean, there could be abutters that
No, there could be.
take exception.
I
to be heard.
I don't.
I have talked to all my butters, and everyone is on board, but
Yeah,
this is not really something I'm worried about.
it's kind of like a unique property where it's situated.
Yeah, I don't think we want to be in the business of saying that we're going to like automatically.
No, I'm not
approve
saying automatically, but I'm saying if we want to try it, and then if there's questions, obviously we continue it.
Penalizing wrong.
That's all. I'm trying to figure out a way to help.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just,
A lot of it's thinking out loud.
when do you think you would be in though? I mean, you could submit it,
I
and then we
could-
can- and then we can continue it when you're.
Yeah,
when-
so I will be returning the first week of March.
Okay.
So I assume, what, is it March 4th? Is that,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause I
that's
mean,
our,
not gonna
that's
be
our
able to meet
working
that meeting.
Yeah, it's,
but I could do the following meeting. I could do what, March 18th?
no, but we could,
You could do the fourth,
we
right?
could do it on the working meeting,
Yeah.
which would
We
be the
have, so.
4th of, right?
Yeah, as long as it's noticed, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do it on our working meeting. But I guess what I'm saying is just that, you're going to submit everything, and if there are questions or any defects or anything like that that require us, so I mean, I don't think we want to be in the business of just saying that, no problem, just send it
Yeah.
and you're all set. All right, so if you submit it, you can't be here and you can be at the next meeting, then we can continue it.
Am I able to submit it for the 18th? Is that what it would be, February 18th?
Or you could try for the fourth.
Yeah.
Well, is
Yeah,
that,
This is the 4th.
It's just a whole month away.
no, March.
Oh, March.
I don't know.
February.
That's kind of tight getting the notice out, isn't it, Jay? Or
Yeah, and we have to wait 21 days after the application's been submitted before
Yeah.
it can be put before.
Okay,
bidding.
so we'd have to go the 18th.
So it'll
Yeah.
have to be.
Yeah, so I'd just say, I guess, would say
March
coordinate with planning department
yeah,
and, and then we'll take the application up.
And I think that will give you some time to breathe when you get back from your honeymoon.
I'm
And get
coming
everything
back on-
done. Huh?
I am coming back on the 4th.
Yeah.
Probably be on a
so
plane.
Yeah, that would be
It might be
tight.
better.
No, it won't be ready. Right. When they get back.
So do the best that you can do and come back on the 18th of March and they'll see what they can do.
So to confirm, do you want me to submit it 434 and then if there are questions, we'll push it off to the 18th, or do you want me to submit it for the 18th?
That's true. What if there aren't any questions?
Well, like I said, I don't know. We don't have an application in front of us, right?
here's the
But
thing.
we will
is
the 4th, right?
get the application in, and then
And then,
we'll let the notice
Okay.
period drive the days.
okay,
All right? I think that's the easiest way, and then put it this way, you already get a feeling we'd like to get this done sooner rather than later, so.
Right.
okay,
Yeah, so just come in and see Shay.
okay.
Anything else? Anyone else on the board?
No, the only thing is, good luck and have a good,
Thank you.
nice wedding and enjoy your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Congratulations.
it.
Don't think about this. Enjoy the
I'll try
honeymoon.
not to.
It'll get done.
And-
It'll get
Thank
done.
you. I appreciate it.
The easiest way here is if you have any questions, just ask them, and we'll try and get your answers. If there's something confusing, we'll answer your questions.
Okay, and then, so sorry, just to specify which application what am I submitting exactly?
So you're just submitting an application for amended site plan.
Amended site plan.
Amended site.
Okay.
What to do, when you come in, talk to Shay. Shay knows exactly
Okay.
what you're gonna need.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right. We don't need to do anything to close this application out, do we? I don't accept it as complete administratively. Sure.
No, it's
If
a
to close this
pending
out,
one.
if you continue it, we use the same number?
It'll be a new application, so it'll be a different.
So we should close this one out?
And so how in fact do we say we're closing it out?
We've never done this.
Make a motion and vote, but not support the motion.
Yeah.
Not what?
So make a motion in the affirmative
Okay.
and then vote to not support the
We
motion.
should have done this
Alright,
at the
so-
last meeting. We should have told her to get a new site plan.
Whatever.
So it's gonna be, you want the motion, I accept, right?
Yeah, and it's
The
their
application.
responsibility to
Yes, so
come
the
in with
motion
the
would
right
be,
Well,
Not ours.
Yeah, so-
you're talking about the conditional approval, right?
Yeah, but we
So we would
didn't-
just,
we didn't
we would do this
know
motion, and then we would just
What I
reject
knew
it.
is the numbers are wrong.
All right.
Yeah, right. Well, that means she had to do
All
it
right.
wrong.
She did, and she did.
I
it
move to
wrong.
approve the conditional use permit to allow for commissary kitchen for catering at 182 Main Street, tax map 29, lot 31, and as noted in the legal notice of PB 25-16, as all criteria for such permits are met with the following condition. I guess. A home business occupancy permit shall be obtained from the building department. A building permit shall be obtained from the building department. The building inspection shall be completed by the building inspector. Proof that all conditions have been met shall be provided to the planning department within 30 days of receipt of the final permit from the building department.
I'll
Do I
second.
have a second? Bill?
I'll second.
Right. What we're doing is we're just closing this out and, assuming that you're just going to vote in the,
And we're going to have to write a notice of decision too.
yep.
Okay.
All in favor? Against?
Aye.
Aye.
Or nay, however you want to say it.
And no abstentions? All right, 040. All right. And RPC Circuit Rider and Master Plan Update Discussion. All right,
Which one is this now?
number 4 on the agenda. Welcome, welcome.
Why don't I have,
Long time in coming.
why don't I have that?
Just for the record, just your name and your.
So I'm Jen Rowden. I'm the Land Use Program Manager at Rockingham Planning Commission, and I'm glad to be back with many of you. Most of you I do know, but for the new faces, it's nice to meet you. So I believe that the reason we are meeting, and Mr. Anthony, please correct me if you have different expectations than this, but we started a circuit rider contract with you back in the fall, and really up until now, it hasn't been started or utilized. So other than a few conversations I've had with Richard and with Shay, and what has been expressed as the main desire for that contract is really for RPC, mainly myself, but with some support of some of the other staff, is to help you with some master plan implementation, which I think is sort of the primary focus of our discussion this evening. But also within that circuit rider contract, I'm able to assist with zoning updates. I actually took a look at your zoning amendments you have going to town warrant for this year, but come sort of, zoning season next year, if there are items that come about because of changes to state law, other items you're wanting to work on, that can fall under the circuit rider contract. So that's another aspect that can fall under that. In addition, if you have cases procedurally that you have, or just general procedures for planning board, what you can do, what you can't do, and this sort of falls with ZBA as well. Shay or any of the board members are certainly welcome to call me and I can walk through that or get you information as necessary. If you have specific applications, I'm also able to assist with reviewing those. I do that for many other communities. But that's on a case-by-case basis. That wasn't seen as like sort of a prominent aspect of this contract, but that aspect is there. Anytime I would spend reviewing applications can be charged back to the applicant. That's up to Plastow to do if we were to do that, but we could send invoices regarding that review time. So just want to make sure you're all aware of everything that's sort of under the umbrella of that contract with RPC at this point. It's about $9,000 worth of time, basically. But for the focus of this evening, and really the information I've gotten from both Shay and from Mr. Anthony about what has been a discussion with the planning board is wanting to move forward with the master plan, really looking at the implementation section of your master plan, because I know it's been around for a couple of years at this point, and you've made some progress with some of the actions, but maybe not as far as you had hoped. It's been sort of a funny, past 5-6 years with a lot of things going on in the world. But moving forward with a few things and really focused, at least for this evening's discussion, on the transportation component and the economic development component. I'm happy to talk about all of them, but those were seen as sort of like the main two focuses for this evening. Is there a preference to which topic to start with?
Transportation,
Transportation?
my
Okay.
idea.
Yeah, I think transportation is sort of kind of got a life of
Is
its
that,
own.
is that the higher? Okay.
We've talked about economic development and, in the course of a year, sort of bromadically and things like that.
Yep.
But I think transportation is sort of
Okay.
you just need to say a few words on it and you activate everyone. So
I will say I did speak with both our transportation program manager and our new director about all of the happenings of transportation activity between Plastow and DOT as of late, just to make sure that I was up to speed on really what is that Main Street project. I know there was a public presentation that DOT did with Hoyle and Tanner back in November where they discussed the project. It sounds like that project was left with, I will say, a little bit of confusion on the point of DOT, Hoyle and Tanner, about sort of looking to see what Plastow wanted, because that project has been going on for at least 15 years. We've had public information sessions, input sessions, a few surveys, going back to at least 2011. I'm sure there were things that predate that I just didn't have a chance to look at, but it's got a lot of history. It's been a lot of new things that have happened, new people that have come into town, new opinions, new budget costs, all of that. The way that many of the aspects of that project do fit in with some of your existing actions for transportation is it's really about the walkability of downtown and the safety. which certainly plays into economic development for the downtown part of Plastow. You know, I'm going to sort of leave 125 to its own discussion because that's a whole other animal to talk about.
Yep.
Still important, but for the economic development and sort of the DOT project tie-in right now, I do think you have a number of topics within, and it's actually not just within the transportation section or the economic development section. It's actually a little bit filtered in with some of the infrastructure discussion you have, some of the housing discussion, of trying to make sure that the downtown area and that Main Street project really is, you're not doing chicken and egg sort of planning, that you're being very strategic in how are you going to make all of the different pieces of enhancing the downtown better. And the transportation and sidewalks and safety are certainly a big part of that. And that's often, in many communities, the start of getting some, I'm going to use the word revitalization, but some just more life, bringing more safety and life into that downtown, which I know has been a really long-standing desire of Plastow. So working on maybe a more solidified plan, and I'm not saying redo your master plan, that's not when I say plan, but what are the micro steps and actions to help maybe for that section of town move some of these big picture master plan steps forward that also tie in to that DOT project? I'm not saying that you have to support one aspect of it or the other, but so that you can move to get forwards with DOT, because that project is on the 10-year plan. Like that, getting a project on the 10-year plan at this point is a hard thing to do. So don't lose your space. Don't have to go to the back of the line because the funding is really limited. So I think that might be a good planning board discussion to move forward. Obviously, the select board has to be heavily involved in that. But I think that we could maybe come up with, I'll say, a micro action plan of how to integrate some aspects for that portion of town and the transportation aspect of it forward a little bit.
Yeah, just to that point, with respect to transportation and just sort of that 10-year plan activity that we had, I mean, just from a messaging point of view, I would say that it was fragmented. I mean, you have maybe in our town, there might have been different siloed groups that were talking about it amongst themselves. Updates are, and that's not a negative. That's just with any organization, you have sort of siloed type, and you don't have that horizontal communication. All right, but, you know, I kind of think that the planning board in that sense, you know, can be sort of a nexus where we talk about the stuff and the conversation is, you know, if you're amplifying it, echo chamber, something along those lines.
I do almost wonder, and I was not at that presentation. I did look through the slide deck in the past couple of days, so I can't speak fully to the full presentation that was given, but it does almost seem that it would have been a good opportunity to have had that discussion a little more holistically, not just the DOT project, but you definitely need to have that discussion, but more holistically about how does that fit in with, I'll say, the grander picture of that area of Plastow. And maybe that would have, I don't want to say alleviated concerns or changed people's minds, but it may have given a more full picture to what people were seeking.
Like you probably will see that one of the Warren articles that were advanced is, you know, setting up a transportation development fund of some kind.
Right.
Yep.
And it's specifically, you know, to capture, you know, potential monies coming through the clerk's office and registrations. But that's an example of something that's sort of kind of untethered, moving around. I mean.
So may I ask a question about it though? What's envisioned of that? What if you could just, that suddenly has a lot of money, not a lot of money, a decent amount, what would be the first thing that you would do with it?
Well, that would be, a lot of it's to set up money, because down the road, if DOT does everything, we're going to be responsible for maintaining the sidewalks and all of that. So that money would go towards things like that.
So is that,
or anything else kind of like that in town we could do. So it's kind of, that's what it's the idea.
but
is
the
for.
first intended, I'll say, use of that funding would be the maintenance of sidewalks, should they come to fruition.
Right. And
Not
right,
just
and-
maintenance of sidewalks, it would also be streets
Yep.
that
Okay.
we want
Yeah,
things done
it'll
for
be, if we
too.
have things to be
and-
done, we'll probably have to purchase some equipment. for sidewalks
And
to
what we're
take
gonna do
care
in the
of them.
center of town.
And obviously, if we needed to do them on 125, that would help take care of that as well. Crosswalks, things like that. That's what the intent of that is.
So I'm going to ask one other follow-up because I did take a look at your CIP, but has the CIP connected any of this? The master plan with
With
the annual budgetary things with,
I think it's sufficient to say that I don't think CIP conceptually has been linked with the master plan.
It's not,
It's not.
there's an opportunity there to do that.
Could be,
Um,
right.
And probably in this year's, we'll create a lot more runway for the CIP to take a look at that.
I mean, honestly, your CIP is in a lot better shape than many of your neighboring communities. The fact that you even have an updated one is fantastic. But utilizing that to help spur some of the decisions and implementation, that's your long-term financial tool for your capital expenditures. That's what it's intended. It's also intended to support the master plan and vice versa.
I mean, it's just like I said, but when I say disparate, it's like I think the CIP, I mean, right now already has a transportation
Yes, it does.
account. That's not necessarily tethered to anything that we're doing here master plan wise. And we potentially have a scenario where you can have another transportation account that's going to be, for aggregating these $5 registration surcharges of some kind.
I mean, typically, spending money on something is the hardest thing to get done in a municipality
Yes.
because you're having to use tax dollars. Well, you want to really justify why are people spending their tax dollars? What are they getting? What's the point? So justifying it with your master plan and your CIP, I mean, the more support you can build for something shows how well it's been vetted effectively. And, that makes it more likely that you might be able to get it. So I guess I'm saying you have really good documents in place. I think they could use a little spurring up, but you're definitely not starting from scratch, or you're nowhere near that. I just think that you need some maybe tighter micro planning to be able to move some steps forward.
Specific.
And that can be done in a lot of different ways, but
Well, let's talk about that. What does it mean? Like,
I
I don't think we have a transportation annex at all, right? Yeah. So, I mean, we want one.
a couple ways that can be moved forward, and there is no right way. It depends on the town. Having a master plan implementation committee can sometimes be a way, and it's not because you guys have a lot to do as planning board members, despite all the other boards I know many of you are on. As the planning board, your meetings get filled up with zoning changes, with cases, with other applications. So you're already pretty busy. To fully take on master plan implementation can be a lot. And a lot of the things in your master plan, the planning board can't do on its own. So having an implementation committee that's maybe made up of several planning boards, select board, conservation commission, a rec committee. So it can be a number of different groups that are working together. It is ultimately still the planning board's responsibility. But that is one way that you can do it. You can do an informal, occasional meeting to discuss certain items to come up with an action plan. So it can be very formal. It can be a subcommittee of the planning board effectively, where maybe you pull in a couple key people for a meeting or two. And then you sort of formulate your action plan out of that. Okay. Those are kind of the two most common ways of doing it. Because I suspect you will have a hard time just as the planning board moving that forward.
Could you include community members too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we kind of toyed around with the idea of having, various ad hoc subcommittees.
Yep.
So we kind of have like at least two named standing ones, for zoning and.
But I think what's limiting, on the way we're going now is we're just carving out pieces of the board. We're not. Right. To me, if we're going to be doing like transportation,
we can
the
can
highway
Shanghai,
department,
so,
you know, I mean,
Right,
there's
include them
there's
in it.
assets in town that,
Yeah.
and I think, you know, to Jen's point, I think it's the only way we're going to accomplish anything. You know, if just looking at a year-long calendar for us to, you know, get updated the master plan, I think it's beyond our capabilities right now.
Yeah, because there already is a highway safety group in town that meets like 4 times a year. And I know the chair of it is the chief of police.
Yeah,
Right.
but
So you have
Lincoln,
that, Danny's part of it.
yeah,
Usually the town manager will sit on it. There's someone from Selectmen's on there, the community members on there as well.
Yeah, the community.
So that
mentions-
might
someone
be,
from the planning board. on
no,
it.
but that might be a
Right,
way, a group,
Exactly.
that might be the group to kind of start it maybe, to help. Because you already got those folks involved.
So the other thing I do want to point out is that pick like 2 things. So we'll say like 1 or 2 transportation things, because a lot of these kind of all tie into each other. You cannot get an entire plan done in 1 year. It just won't happen. But you can get smaller steps or 1 action or 2. So let's pick a couple or 1 or 2 that sort of and let's work on that. Because sometimes just getting that ball rolling is what's going to get the other things sort of caught up in that snowball effect.
Yeah, no, I think that's, and I mean, I think the one topic that we should start with is just defining what trying to make Main Street safer,
Right.
you know? Because there are some micro steps we can take to make this safer. There are some things the planning board can do to make this safer. But I think that's a noble goal. And I think there are some less costly ways we can improve the safety of downtown. Even if we do one thing, it's better than what we have right now.
Right.
I mean, sort of offhand, I can't remember the exact reference, but one of the comments in here is to put in more bike pedestrian sort of supporting facilities into your regulations. Maybe that's just requiring when there's a redevelopment near the downtown that they put in a bike rack in your regulations. It can be something that's simple, quite frankly.
Right.
But
Right in
like
front of
those
the
are
town
small options that are relatively easy for the planning board. I mean, that's a simple example, admittedly. But every little bite
Thing
towards that
counts.
goal helps. Something else that can be done that's a very simple step forward is convening a meeting of some of the groups that have been involved or would be involved with a transportational, say, action plan for 2026. Let's have a one-off meeting where you invite them in. We talk about the master plan and we talk a little bit about DOT's plan. It doesn't have to be invite DOT necessarily, but how does all of this dovetail into actions the town can take and how to put that in line with things that are happening at DOT? From the transportation planners at my office, the takeaway I got from them, and they were in attendance at that meeting back in the fall with DOT, they felt that at this point, DOT is sort of waiting for Plastow to tell them what they want and what you guys want.
Yeah,
Can I
we've
speak to
already-
that?
Sure.
Yeah, we've already had that.
We've told.
I was with our town manager and DOT
Okay.
came and spoke with us with another board member.
Okay.
And we had a conversation,
Okay.
and we asked the town manager to send a letter, which I believe Shay sent to the DOT, and we have not heard back from them about I had pointedly asked if, we needed to find some solutions because we needed to have this happen. How can we make some concessions and how can we make some compromises? So we sent our compromises to DOT. They were not big compromises and we have not heard back. So when they say they have not heard from us,
So I will say
that is
that
a fallacy.
I don't want to say that DOT said that. Just the impression that my office got from that November meeting was that
We
DOT
have-
seemed that
Yeah,
he was
and then
back
there
here
was
for,
a-
and I
No,
fully
we-
understand I didn't have all
And
the
that letter
information.
was sent
The-
early December.
Yeah,
late
because it was
November.
after that meeting.
Well, it was after
Yeah,
the
it was
meeting.
after
All right.
that meeting, and we sent something we've not heard back.
Yeah,
Well, honestly-
Made a note.
I guess that's another example of what I would consider sort of a siloed type response. I mean, the planning board as a whole, wasn't aware that there was,
Right.
some sort of communication, meeting or letter.
Well,
And we've been
got
talking
an
about, we've been
email and
talking
said-
about
We've been
this for,
talking about it.
we've been talking about this for, at least notionally for, a year plus. And,
Yep.
and I attended, all the meetings and plus went up to Greenland for the last meeting.
yeah,
that they had.
and I just happened to be in town and I was asked to please come. And I
Yeah.
came.
But I guess that's an example of this
And we all
communication.
silo. Every committee
Yeah.
silos. So
But it's just,
It
the-
absolutely
yeah.
happens. It's
Yeah.
very common. I will say, just a side note with the DOT communication, me just now knowing that, we, as the RPC is sort of like a impartial observer, we can bug DOT a little bit too.
Yeah,
So
and I would
do
really-
communicate with us about that stuff too if you need help.
Yeah. So, we need to find a compromise.
Mhm.
Well, what's the
And-
compromise? I guess I
Well,
don't know what that
I-
is.
you
when
know,
you say that.
I don't have the letter in
Okay.
front of me, but, let's start down at,
Can we see the letter?
I-
I mean, is that
can-
something that we can see
I
for the
believe
board?
we can,
I'd like to see it too.
yeah.
All right, just
Why not?
so we're all kind of on the same
I don't,
sheet.
Just
off the
here,
top of
and
my
it's
head,
short.
I know it was sent, I don't remember when it was sent, and, let's start at one end and work our way up and end it, and I believe it was announced at a board meeting.
I'd have to go back and
No,
remember.
right.
I believe we asked for it to
Wasn't
be
it
ended
us?
at, right here at
Yeah,
County.
because I know what they talked, instead of going to the tracks, end of the town hall.
At Town Hall, so it.
It would go from the
didn't go all
library
way.
to town hall.
But
And
we-
they want, obviously, they're gonna have the final say in everything. They own the
Yeah.
road.
And the other piece of that is, it's $850,000. It's not even going to get past the library.
So there's only
We're
so
gonna have to
much.
find money. I mean, in 2011 or 2015, that was a lot of money.
Was.
Now that's how much it's going to be to just drill
Yep.
and dig up. And then what are they going to do? So they're going to need to figure out how to pay for the rest of that.
Just based on this conversation, I think starting with a single meeting of Plastow folks, I would actually say without DOT at this point, to just let everybody know what has been proposed, what are some of the supporting documents to help move that forward might be really useful.
Right. We hear from them.
We could talk about other transportation things as it relates to the master plan as well, but I wonder if that might be a useful exercise.
Mhm.
Because, you have other things in your master plan, but that Main Street project, it's been going on for
It's done.
so long.
Right. Something's
That
gotta be
seems
done.
like one of those topics that should be
And even if everything was perfect, you're still a couple of years before they do anything.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
But
We know that, but you got to start sometime.
Right, and I also asked, because there is going to be like
Putting it
synchronization
off.
along
Yes.
125. I did ask them to move the bidding cycle up to not the summer, but to early spring for when that cycle was, just to start that process.
yeah, that
To
makes
try and
sense.
help eliminate some of the trucks coming
Yep.
down. We've worked, we've had, is it the sheriff or the state police come in?
State
And
police.
state police to come in and tag people for speeding, vehicle weights and
School.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
So we're trying to be as proactive as we
Yeah,
can.
the signalization is going to be happening. I don't recall off what months it was slated to occur.
I had asked for,
I can
asked
get you
for
that-
January.
I can
but
get you
he's
that
like, "That's
information. I
too
just
soon."
don't know it offhand.
So, Because at that point I was too sassy.
Was there expanded discussion on the potential signage, stop signs at various
That's a
locations?
different group that does
That's a
that.
whole nother.
That's a whole nother group.
That's
We're
a
A
looking
whole
at
other
the group.
bureau within
But yeah,
DOT.
supposedly they're looking to get that done this year. That would be up at North Ave and at the Pine Streets,
Well,
West and East Pine.
But the group that would be doing it is,
It's a separate group.
It's a separate
That guy was here that night.
He was here, right, he
yes,
spoke.
right, right,
He spoke that night, and he committed that night. I asked him that question that night, and
right.
he said, within the year. So obviously, the East and West Pine Streets, that's an easy one,
Well,
right? That's just
Yeah.
they only got to add 2 stop signs, and throw some paint down on the road because there's already 2 stop signs there already.
I
One
know.
on East
I
Pine
don't
Street
get
and
it.
one on West Pine Street.
Yeah.
And then looking at put a 3-way stop sign, I believe is what we had discussed that night up at North Ave.
Yeah.
And then the question is, what do we do about Chandler? I know what I'd like to do is have a meeting with the people who live on Chandler, because I'd like to see that coming from like with North Ave, make that a no left turn. So you don't back up there.
Right, right, no, it absolutely should be.
I
that.
think that would make sense. You can't shut down off one end at 125 just because of emergency vehicles. They have to be able to get in and out of that road.
Right. But you've got Garden Street, that you can come down another road,
Right,
and you can use that, so it's not blocking really anybody that lives.
right, but it's
That
just,
needs to go
but if
down
there's an
there.
emergency vehicle, they had to get out to 125 quick, that could slow them down. But I think if you could, this is just my personal opinion, if you could make that a no left turn going on to Chandler, that's gonna stop a lot of things. I think.
Definitely, definitely. Because there is a use of Garden Road. That gets
But
them.
as far as what happens on Chandler, the town can take care of that,
Right, exactly,
because the Chandler is owned by the town.
right.
But before I would even entertain doing something on that road, I'd want a meeting with everyone on that, who lives on that road, with the impact.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Because that would
To relieve-
impact them more than anyone.
But to relieve them, they do have Garden Road, which a lot of people use to go
I-
back the other
yeah.
way or whatever.
But I'd still like to talk to the folks on
Yeah,
that road.
right.
That's,
No, I
I
know.
think that's common courtesy for,
before you put a Jersey barrier up,
right?
They'd probably appreciate that.
denied.
Yeah, they probably would like less traffic down that way.
All right,
So
so,
just moving forward in either maybe trying to have a meeting of, also I'm going to say Plastow folks about where to move forward with the Main Street project, or at least to understand
Get
how
an
it fits
idea of
in
what
with
they
other
want.
planning aspects. Is that something that sounds desirable, or does doing something more like the ad hoc committee, and we could do both, but
I would say almost go with the committee first before
Okay.
you take it to the town. Because we've already had that discussion,
okay.
with the town back in
Survey.
November.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we've already kind of done that. But I think and plus you'd want to hear from
Get the
DOT what they're
community
going to come back
involved.
and propose.
Yeah.
well, I almost want, that makes sense, what Bill just said, but I think we could also kind of move simultaneously of just sort of, at least this board sort of having an up-to-date understanding of what's happening.
right.
So if there is
Right, and
correspondence.
I agree with that. And, I do know that the letter, I asked Shay, the letter was sent out December 11th. And I believe the town manager made reference to that in the meeting on the 15th in his administrator's report.
Mhm.
But it should have been maybe a comment made to us.
Well, I'm not saying that there's anything
No, I know. I know.
untoward. It's just that I
It
think
just would have
that
helped maybe. a little
everyone's
bit.
kind of having a conversation,
Right.
then here we are asking the same questions that have already been asked type
Right.
thing.
Right.
But at some point then, when you say that an ad hoc committee, again, it's sort of an expanded planning board type thing with maybe, key people from the town,
I think
leaders.
you'd want the police there, you'd want fire, because that's
Yeah.
emergency.
Mhm.
So they need to know what's going on. Highway needs to know what's going on.
Police, fire, highway, select. board
Definitely
member.
highway. Yeah.
I will say an ad hoc committee in general. You don't want to get much more than maybe 7 or 8 people, just because
Right.
it becomes unwieldy.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that other people can't be tapped or asked to participate, but to begin with, I would start with no bigger than that.
Yeah.
Just to be able to have to get some of the, I want to say, the practical aspects sort of dealt with until you bring in more people, because no ad hoc committee is going to make any decision. They're just going to try and move things forward.
Yep, right.
But I think out of that ad hoc committee, we can come up with the steps of, okay, select board's going to work on this aspect of it because you have certain things that you are responsible for. The planning board can work on this aspect because it has responsibility over the land use regulations you might want to amend. The CIP committee, maybe, and I realize we're sort of talking next year town meeting at that point, maybe there's something with the CIP committee that they can be tying things into, or maybe it's just the annual budget committee having a discussion of how are we going to allocate some of this. It's breaking it down into what are the steps and then who is responsible for them. Because if you make the task too big, it doesn't happen.
Correct.
Right,
And I think
exactly.
maybe we need to have a conversation with the CIP and start that conversation early this year. No pressure, Dan, I'm sorry. And then, work on the ad hoc as well so that whoever's on that for fire, police, safety, select board can bring back some of that discussion as to what should be placed in that CIP.
One other thing I will offer that's kind of adjacent to what was just discussed is that, come, March, there's going to be a little bit of turnover in town. I don't know everybody who's running at this point, but inevitably.
This year, not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Okay.
On the planning board?
That's actually.
Yeah, there's two slots that are open, and I think
They're unopposed.
unopposed, so,
It's not
Okay.
changing, Rich.
exactly.
Yeah, there's really going to be not a shift.
Not a lot of changeover in the boards in town. Okay.
Not the
And
shift.
that's fine. I just typically like to say right after town meeting, because you've gotten that. Having the conversation with people, and it can be you invite in ZBAs, CIP committee, budget committee, and have a general presentation. I mean, I could honestly give this in my sleep because I give it to a lot of towns of master plan, CIP, budgetary, tax revenue aspect. How does that all integrate in making municipal decisions? If that would be helpful.
That's what I'm saying.
If
So-
it's not helpful,
No, I'm just saying, if we were to do something like sort of an expansive town-wide type, meeting with the idea of the master plan, is that something that, you wouldn't mind sort of emceeing?
yeah, I mean, it's a presentation or conversation,
Okay.
facilitated conversation I've done in many towns.
Okay.
I typically title it, your master plan and what it can do for you, but it's how does a town move things forward?
Because I think that would be sort of an excellent kickoff, at least, organizationally, right? Just sort of have a big meeting.
It sometimes is
all
nice
hands
after
on
town
board.
meeting, like
Yeah.
everybody's going in the same
Not
direction.
adversarial.
So, and I just offer it up as an option.
No, that sounds great. I think that's something that I think I'd be interested in seeing.
Might be a nice way to just jumpstart the
Jump and
conversation.
start it.
Sort of generate some ideas and maybe momentum. So put a star next to that.
Okay.
All right. All right.
So, as a result of at least our conversation thus far, and we can talk about additional things, why don't I write up a suggested, I'll say, proposal for moving forward with an ad hoc committee? There's some of the details I think that you guys might want to talk about at your next meeting or maybe your March 4th meeting. Like if there are certain people, you're like, this is the person that should be that person on a committee or be invited. And we'll pull together sort of an agenda of what that ad hoc committee agenda meeting would look like. Is that a fair proposal to start with? And then I can send you a copy of sort of the master plan presentation and how it works, integrates with CIPs and budgets, so you can see what I've presented.
No, that sounds fantastic.
Okay. Are there other items that you would like to discuss at this point, or does that seem like too many tasks
That's it.
with the master plan?
I don't believe you do one thing and do it right.
Okay.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, because if you
agree
start
with
doing
that.
2 or 3 things, next
I
thing
agree with
it's
yeah.
not good. I'd rather do it and
Doesn't
do it
work
right.
out.
All right. I'm going to ask more generally, though, with your circuit rider contract, are there things, zoning regulations, procedures, things going on in Concord that you have questions about? Are there applications? And this is, I also say this to Shay as well, that, you know, are there other things under your circuit rider contract that at this point you want more assistance with, you have questions about?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we just came out of deliberative. We just wrapped up zoning, you know.
I think we're always interested in what's going on in Concord.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
I get the list and it's.
You get the list, yeah.
staggering, you
Yeah,
know?
no.
1,500
very good about that.
LSRs this
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're never adverse to intel
Okay.
and analysis to go with it.
I mean, the general tenor in Concord is that impacts planning and zoning is to repeal many of the things that were enacted last year.
Yep.
So some of the accessory dwelling regulations that I know that's one of your zoning changes. Things building off of Class 6 roads, allowing multifamily by right in all commercial districts, a couple of other things that some impact Plastow a little bit more than others. Some procedural aspects of ZBA members being able to vote on applications if they're a sitting planning board member and vice versa. That also came up. So there are a lot of competing bills, especially related to housing right now and land use regulations. We are still so early in the session that there are bills right now that completely conflict with each other. So I can't tell you which way they're going to go. There will definitely be some changes, I would say, come March and crossovers. Crossover is usually like March 30th, March 28th. We'll have a better idea. But there are a lot of bills and there's a lot of pushback to a lot of the housing related bills. Not necessarily because I want to say Concord is pro-housing or anti-housing at this point, but the what municipalities can decide versus what they can't, I think is really the big controversy, and how to rectify that. You know, I don't have an opinion either way, but you know, it's complicated when you keep having to change your zoning regulations just to keep up
Right.
Yeah.
with
Exactly.
the state changes.
Exactly.
I mean, I did half of the accessory dwelling regulations in Rockingham County this year. That's a lot. So, but if there's any specific bill or topic that you want specific updates on, I'm happy to do that. I will say for just housing bills, I'm happy to forward the list that I also get. I don't know exactly what list you're, but
We get the Tim Moore.
NHMA.
Yeah.
Tim Moore, yeah.
NHMA usually has the
Yeah.
highlights as they affect
Right.
municipalities and planning and zoning. You know, whether you agree with the bill or not is, you know, that's your own
If you have,
prerogative.
of course, if you have any particular granularity, or if you think that, you know, perhaps you should be thinking about this.
The one thing that I will note that is related to legislation that really does impacts every community, is the fact that DOT is currently now $400 million in the hole of all the projects currently on the 10-year plan. So they removed
400
Heard that.
million?
400 million. So they have
They were
over
saying
budgeted 400 million versus how much money they actually have in
Right.
projects.
So is the rail trail going
the
to
rail
be,
trail
is it safe?
Is that
or
The rail
or
trail
they-
is safe.
Okay.
You know, there's some big projects in like the Manchester Bow area that that's 200 million that got slated. So, but the reason I'm saying that is that there are proposals, you know, should the gas tax get increased? Should the tolls get increased? There are some proposals to consider because there is this huge lack of revenue for the state to be even able to keep up with its transportation obligations at this point. And you have some transportation projects that
Right.
they're in there, but you know, if there are future projects that come along, they might take 30 years to happen.
Right.
So I just bring that up as a general.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a lot. And to Bill's point, maybe we should, you know, just sort of,
Okay.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, if there's any type of legislative analysis that's, let's say, above and beyond what the normal push that we can get, then You know, that
always
should be
add it.
brought to our attention. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
and generally, if there's something of that level, we send
Yeah.
out a notice to all of our communities, and particularly our commissioners.
All right.
So, but if there's other topics, you have questions about a bill, anything like that, certainly feel free to email me.
Excellent.
Okay, good.
All
I
right,
think
so-
if there is some ability for some general application review help, that would be great. Just because I'm new coming into the New Hampshire legislative stuff and everything, and we don't currently have a zoning officer either. So I think a little bit of assistance, if the board is agreeable to that, would
No,
be
that makes
good.
sense.
Yep.
Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was just sort of listening to your case today. You know, I didn't know the specifics of that case, so I don't want to speak to it. But if you had procedural questions about that, even if you don't need me to review the case per se, I can help with that aspect as
Okay.
well. I
Yeah,
do that,
that would be
with
great.
Atkinson very specifically, and I work with the town of Newton to do that as well.
Okay, awesome.
So,
That's great.
Good.
No,
That would be
Yeah, I
great.
think the procedural stuff would be very helpful.
yeah, happy to help.
all right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all. It's
Very
to see
good.
all
Thank you
again.
for coming.
Cool beans.
Next
We'll
time,
be
bring
in
some warm
touch.
weather with you.
I will do my very best.
All right. Well, next on the agenda, we have a conceptual consultation for 71 Plastow Road. Let's see what we have here.
Welcome.
Stephen Corey, trying to open up Scoop and Swirl. Change this office space area into a fun family spot that needs to be addressed because it's been empty for so long. And I think it's designed as the perfect spot to just make an ice cream stand. Now, my goal is to not change any of the structure except to add maybe an awning and a sign there. The parking lot, I think, is designed perfect. The in and out of it, it's just great, I think. I don't think there's much necessity to change anything except for a walk-up stand. I don't want to do anything inside just yet, maybe in the future. But as of now, I just want to make it into an ice cream stand.
So is this all, the structure's currently vacant?
So it is currently vacant. It's been vacant for a long time now.
Yeah, for a while, right?
I've been coming up to 125 for a long time, and I've never, ever seen anything happening except for a parking lot for cars for a while, and they finally cleaned that up. But I think the design of the parking lot, from what I counted, was about 20 spaces for parking. And I think it's perfect. It's nothing that needs to be a restaurant, any sort of sit down inside or anything. Maybe if it's possible, I don't know what the structures of the laws are, of having maybe a couple picnic tables on the outside, maybe 15, 20-minute come and go cars.
In the parking lot, does one side open up on Joanne Drive and the other's on 125?
Correct. And it's a two-way traffic.
Just wanted to make sure it's the exact spot I was thinking.
Yeah, and I think it's
Right.
perfect. I think it'd be a great spot to bring a community together, families together, bring a nice vibe there for local businesses as well.
The exit onto Joanne is one
Yes.
way, right? Is that?
It's two ways.
It's two-way?
No,
Yes.
it's two-way. Yeah.
Because on the plan, I think it shows it as one-way.
So it is on where the entrance comes into. There's that side street. It's a corner built, and that
Oh,
is
yeah.
like a one-way. But so
That is
if you're at
one-way.
the set of lights and the building's on your left, you take that left, but then you take another left where you can either continue back to 125
Right.
or you can come into the parking lot area
Parking
there.
lot.
Right.
Right.
Because that's,
I'm just trying to visualize how you would do the ice cream there, because it looks
Yeah.
like a house, right?
Yes, it does. It's,
So I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah.
how you,
so
just trying to picture where the you'd walk up to the window,
So
get an ice cream.
I've been visualizing this for a while. Right
Okay.
now. And what I'm trying to do right now is purchase the building in the lot there.
Okay.
Is that a picture of the building?
So I did an AI structure.
Okay.
I don't mind me showing you that. This is just the side of the building where I need to really just function out of.
So that's like on the side, okay, so that's the side facing Joanne Drive.
Right.
So, okay, so you'd be putting windows in like there.
Okay.
And we walk up windows. These are not just, this is just an AI generated.
No, I get it, but I'm just,
But this is the visual to give you.
no, I'm glad you have
So
that, 'cause I'm
what's
a visual
upstairs?
person.
And
What's upstairs?
That's gonna be the
upstairs
next question.
it's offices. It's really just empty space. What I'd probably use it for is not so sure. This one out there,
Yeah,
So that's the front of the building.
yeah.
Okay, you see the awnings
Yep.
as well. I'm sure if we were to see that.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
There's an awning on it.
yeah,
Right, so that's the 125.
that's the
side.
125 side,
25
right,
side.
right.
Which will, steps to go in and out of the building, but there's no access for customers to come in and out.
Okay.
So it would just be an outside, there'd be no inside to get ice cream?
Correct.
No seating,
No seating on the inside. That's what I was asking as well, as far as the permission for picnic tables. I don't know what the rules or the laws are for that. If there's,
but
So,
typically,
so this would just be seasonal
That's
then,
not a
right?
bad
'Cause
idea.
if you-
Tables
So if you,
outside.
if you have no place for someone to go inside, I
Right.
can't imagine someone standing outside in this weather to get an ice cream.
correct. And for the thought of being right now, yes, seasonal. As for future plans, I mean, I don't know. I couldn't say that I just want to keep this closed all year or for the winter part, but I wouldn't mind it as a seasonal building. But I do have future plans to maybe make it into, for the, ice cream's not, well, I guess it is a big hit for the winter, but I'd also be able to, or want to extend over to maybe a creative cookie company or maybe something of sweets as well. But my main goal right now is to get into the door.
Are you
with
making
ice cream.
the ice cream on site, or are you bringing it in from some other location?
So this
or-
is a couple of different options that we have. So my main choice is to use is to make actual ice cream there. I
Okay.
think that would be the fun
Okay.
part of it, to be able to create different flavors instead of using somebody else's flavors.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think that would be a given, and then to use high quality local vendors around the area or possibly farms from the area that have good contents in them.
This is a very similar thing up in Chester. I don't know if anybody knows that one near the town hall. It's a building very much like this, but they only do the serving that bottom, and they do have a couple of picnic tables out here. There's no sitting inside, but they are closed right now.
That's why I'm saying seasonal, right? 'Cause
It is
not going
seasonal.
To an ice
No,
cream
it is
stand
seasonal.
outdoor. That's why I was curious if you were planning on
Plenty of
doing
space in the
something
parking lot.
inside for winter months or.
So it really depends on how it goes, how it takes off.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it to do very well over the summertime. Then
Yes,
each year
yeah.
I want to increase about 40% more as a visual of upgrading, because your first time being a business owner, and if you succeed with this and people like your contents and it gives a good vibe, they're going to come back and you're going to be suggested
Yeah,
every year.
So I'm just trying to think long term. So eventually you talk to like a sweet thing or something on the first, that would be
Yeah.
the first floor.
Correct.
Would you have offices up above or would
So
you
I
make
would
those
like to
apartments?
do, I would
or-
like to do offices because it's pretty big space. And I don't know how I would utilize that upstairs, as well as the basement is huge as well. So, I mean, if it were to be possible offices upstairs to use for extra income to pay the mortgages or whatnot, that would be a choice. But my main goal right now is the ice cream stand. And if I had to reappear in front of the board for that
That's what these people do.
office area, to use that as office, I would. I mean, it's zoned now as office space,
Right.
and it is in C1 area, so I think it'd just be a great vibe for the families and.
I'm just trying to think, this would go, this, if you had something like this, ice cream wise, it's, I don't think there's, you'd have to go further up 125 to find your next ice cream place.
So
It's
the
like
other place,
this,
I think it's
yeah.
called Stonehill. I'm not sure.
Stillwell's.
Yeah, Stonewall.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
it's-
they're in the
I don't
mall.
know. It's a great spot. I've eaten there several times. I don't mind it at all. It's just, it's in a complex, like a bunch of different buildings.
in a
And this
mall.
is by itself, where people can pull right in,
Right.
park, bring their kids down, grab some ice cream, sit down, eat ice cream, and take off, and keep rotating.
I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but ice cream kills me. That's my weakness.
I mean, who doesn't love ice cream? Especially on a cold night or a hot night.
But what you're looking at conceptually is just kind of set up outside. You're not looking to expand anywhere else. It's
No.
kind of just set up windows.
Correct. The only structure I might change is just the windows. The walk up is
Yeah.
possibly with an awning, nice big sign saying ice cream. Depending on, so being inside the store, the spot there as well, I would want to put maybe a 1 foot deck on the outside, maybe a 4 to 5 foot deck coming out, so people are able to stand up, move the windows up, and they'll be able to order from that there. as you've seen.
So you know what it would kind of look like? You know how Levitt's ice cream
Yeah.
is? That's how I'm
Yeah.
envisioning how that side would look.
So I'm looking at
You
it
know what
like
I'm
this, but
saying? If it
without
puts
the,
Uh,
deck on?
It's
On that
exactly
side.
what
Trying to be
Chester
like,
said.
yeah, on the side of the building.
Exactly like this.
Right.
Exactly like
They
it.
don't have,
Correct. Correct.
anything.
That just came to me.
Yeah, no, exactly, but that's the.
This is
that's what
exactly
it would
like
look
that one in
You have
Chester.
something where you
Same
go
idea.
interact
Exactly. Very popular.
at the window.
That's probably the best analogy.
Yeah. So no, it's all right. You know, ding. All
I
right.
mean, your issues here are gonna be your kind of utility structures, your well, your septic.
So this is the other thing too. It has the sewage, water sewage. I'm sorry, not sewage. Water, town water. Let me get this straight. Already ran to the building. It just needs to be connected.
Okay,
Oh,
right.
good.
So I would
There's
definitely
like-
be.
'Cause they're on
There's a
that
well there now, right?
Yes, correct.
There's also
Oh.
an abandoned well.
I'm not
So
sure about.
It sets it on the plan.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just-
So I'm not sure if, so the plan, what I did, I just took the old plan and just reiterated it and just got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. I know they were trying to put a new building up there back in, I think it was 2002. They built a foundation and they were going to structure and built it off and make it bigger. But these were a lot of new plans that were there, and I'm not an architect or a designer, and I didn't know how to go about this, to be honest with you. So I just took the same lot and tried to make it my own and keep it as simple. So I did remove some stuff and do that. I did have a septic company go out and do a full inspection on the grounds there, and everything's intact and.
Well, the only thing you have to just take into account is, you know, however that original system was designed.
Right.
Right.
So you're talking, if it's designed for like the office use, well, that's much lower kind of flow volume than an ice cream, you know?
Sure.
I mean,
Well, in a sense, yes and no. The only thing we would be using would be the water. I'm sure not too many employees would not be using the bathroom all day.
well, what about a dip well? Would you use that?
I
So a
don't.
dip well is where you stick the ice cream scoopers into the, it's all
Oh,
running
yes,
water.
of course.
Well, I mean, that for the state of New Hampshire is 100 gallons per day flow per dip well. So that's about 2/3 of the design flow for the number of employees that were here. So that it's going to increase the use. I suspect you've got plenty of room in the current septic
Right.
system,
Yes.
particularly if the original was designed for a residence,
Residence,
which likely
right.
was, you know. So I'm, you know, the idea of a conceptual consultation is to kind of plant things in your mind
Sure.
that
Sure.
you might want to take a look at. How many employees do you think you're going to have?
So I think in the beginning during the summertime, we'll probably be looking at 4 to 5 employees
Is that through the whole day or each shift?
well, that'd be through to be honest with you, I would probably start with probably 4 in the morning and probably 4 at night. So
So you're talking
probably-
4 on it, probably 4 on at all times?
Yeah, so probably 4 to 5 employees on at all times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think would be great for the youth too, being able to
Yeah.
get a job and
Yeah.
build as well. And
Yeah.
then families would be coming in and spot you could come and sit down and have ice cream safely. You know, not
Yeah.
going into a complex where, you know, there's cars everywhere. You're designated for this one spot where you
parking
can
would
come
be
in and sit
great.
down.
You probably could get the picnic tables too.
Remember, this is also this sits in the Aquifer Protection District too. So it's just, there are some limitations in that district. And then there are more probably considerations that you just have to take. So I would encourage you to look at that too. It's a article in the zoning ordinance. So it's fairly tight as if there's going to be any like disturbance on the lot too. It doesn't give you a lot of room before you end up having to file additional reports and that kind of thing. So
Such as, I'm sorry,
a
reports.
stormwater management report is one of them, which is a pain in the butt.
Something to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a question. You said something about water. Now, is it your intent to link into the town water?
So yes,
Yep.
it would be.
Now, to that
That's
point,
good.
I mean, I'm just trying to remember, wasn't there some discussion about, there's some consideration with respect to linking into the water and to kind of ameliorate the costs that an applicant would
There
incur.
was that expired, but we could revisit it if we had to.
Okay. So in other words, either like, a low interest, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, there was something there you could get a low interest, and there was at one point, there was an incentive fee that was given back.
Okay.
That they were doing out of water, we'd have to see what was left on that. But it's something that you could have a discussion with the
For
town
new
on.
business.
Yeah, there might be
Yep.
some incentives.
Right.
The good thing is you're not that far from the road.
Right.
Right.
So that's a good
Easy.
thing.
So, so I know they did run sewer water, well, I keep saying sewer, sorry, town water all the way down to, I think, right around where Cumberland Farms is.
Yes.
They've gotten that
Yep.
far with it. And I just don't understand why they didn't, well, maybe because it was vacant building that they didn't connect it to that
Oh, yeah.
structure.
Well, yeah, well,
Probably
it was
exactly.
always up to the owner of the building.
Yes.
Whether they
Right.
want to connect or not. The town just didn't connect people up unless they wanted to, and there was always a fee to connect. So it didn't force it onto anyone.
Right.
All right.
So, yeah.
No?
Well, best of luck.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
think
good.
there's nothing wrong with the use, obviously.
Nope.
Yeah. no,
Nope.
I think
Nope.
it would be an asset, I think.
Yeah.
I think so,
I do
too.
too.
And you haven't purchased this yet, right?
I'm in the middle of purchasing.
Okay.
I did put a deposit on it. I'm working with a bank right now to complete it. But my main concern was it was a visual of mine that for a long time that this was the perfect structure with that parking lot the way it is, not needing to change anything except to add on maybe the awning and the signs and rearrange inside, But I thought it'd be a perfect spot to designate safety for families
Yep.
and kids come have ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, to summarize what Dan indicated, is that, you're probably going to have considerations of, sewage use and things like that.
So the first
When
thing
you
I
are
did-
in the aquifer district, there might be certain other, considerations that might come up,
Right.
so.
And
So-
are you working with an engineer?
I'm not. I didn't know if it was necessary to do so because, as I said, the only thing I would do is add lines for the parking or existing parking lot that's there for designated spots.
I would at least bring it by someone. I mean, I'm not encouraging you to spend
No,
money.
no,
You don't
no,
need
I
to spend
understand.
money. But I think the water tie-in's going to have to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Septic is going to have to at least be some evaluation
Oh,
as to that.
I've had the whole thing
And-
evaluated.
Yeah.
I hired a company. They came out. They went through the whole thing to make sure that's the biggest asset of it all, of
Yeah,
this
so if they've
building.
gone through it, just to make sure all the things that Dan brought up have been
Yeah.
addressed. to make
Yeah,
sure.
I think.
I've got the
right.
inspection report.
No,
with
no,
me.
but that's the
For the septic.
report that you get. But
Yes.
I'm just talking about like a surveyor,
Okay, so,
because you're going to end up having to come in here with a site plan,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
okay? And that's going to require a surveyor.
So,
As much as I liked your drawing,
thanks.
you're going to need, it protects you. And listen, there are,
You don't want to be blindsided.
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
You're buying
exactly.
it, and then all of a sudden you find out that you can't.
Yeah, right.
Be a little too onerous,
but
I
I think the use is pretty straightforward. It's
Yes.
just there are elements here. Because whatever the load is on that septic, well, it's nothing right now because no one's
Correct.
there. Whatever the load is on that existing septic system, or what it was with the residents, and is going to be greater with your use.
So one of the tests that they did do was for the leach field
Yeah.
to make sure it's working properly, the septic's working properly to extinguish out to the leach field. And
Well,
I do believe it's wetland. It is wetlands that's further beyond.
There
that.
are behind.
Yes.
Yeah, they
there
are
are.
behind
Behind
that pond there. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think
Well,
any of that would
here's-
be an issue.
The issue is what the septic is now, because as you increase your design flow, the size of your leach field increases.
Sure.
So,
So I think with the design that they had, because I'm not sure if they did put in a new septic before they were constructing the new building that they were going to build there.
That's true too. yeah.
Because there's just a huge field of a huge spot in the back where they did do a septic. I think it was done in 2000.
and again, that's all going to be on a plan.
Sure.
Right.
So
On a site
uh,
plan.
you're going to end up having to present the plan in front of us.
I'll tell you what, Shay It's been a great deal of help. She gave me a list of engineers to call and whatnot. These guys are the toughest guys to talk to. Because before I had this meeting with you guys tonight, I've called just about everybody on that list, and I only got one phone call back out of all of them, which was really strange.
Yeah.
And the guy who answered me said they're very busy, and I don't know what's going on around here, but there must be a lot of buildings going on. But yeah, so
Must be working for other towns.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, that's it really. And
Yeah, no, good luck and just make
Yeah,
sure you
keep at
look
it.
into those couple of things.
Yep,
that's-
keep
yeah,
at it.
for sure.
You
And
know.
also, would it be a problem to have a couple offices on the second floor, as well as being a mixed use building?
It is allowed on C1.
I can't, mixed use is permitted in C1, isn't it? Chet?
Yes, it is.
I believe
Yep,
so, right?
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, I mean,
that's why I suggested it in the
I
beginning.
just want to be able to utilize this building as much as I could.
no,
Well,
I get
I
that.
said it, but I mean, is it to his advantage to come in with a site plan that kind of contemplates that?
Yeah.
So that you don't have to.
Yeah, you won't have to do it
You only
again.
want to come and see us
Yeah.
once.
I mean, we're a great
Right,
group of people.
Exactly.
I mean,
You want to come
once
in.
no
is-
problem. You guys
Once is
laugh.
enough.
It's good.
Yeah, once is enough.
So
Charlene, you don't
Yeah,
have to roll your eyes.
I,
I saw that.
I think mixed use is Shay, right? Are you,
I'm looking at it now. I don't see mixed use specifically called out, but both of the uses are listed.
then that's
Then that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
great,
Yep.
great. That'll help out a lot too.
Yeah, you would just have to probably figure out a way how to keep that separate from if you got anything you expand on the first floor, right?
Right,
So you
right.
can't get in there.
Again, that it's just a thought for now for the expansion. It's
Right.
just
No,
ice cream spot was my
No,
main
just-
goal. And
Do what you can now. and-
yeah,
Go from
sounds
there.
good. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, you get a lot of traffic goes through there too, so.
It's been a vision for mine
Yeah.
for a while. So
All right.
No,
I appreciate you guys.
wish you good
Excellent.
luck.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
You know, see, ideas like these are good. Not just car lots. Stupid.
yeah, no. It'd be nice.
Creative use of that
Finally
building.
getting
is.
there.
Yeah,
Now I wanna
And
give
that's
it
what
some
we need to
freedom.
kind of figure out.
it's it is
Like
kind
it's
of
finding a
situated
nice place on
nicely too, because you
C3
don't have, and it's just over that, it's that magic spot just over the railroad.
It's that sweet spot.
Yeah, so. yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
Do you have an application in front of
No,
us?
I don't. I was with Jen. I'm just
Oh, okay.
a regional planner at RTC, so I was just shadowing her and learning about meetings work.
Well, good luck trying to figure this crew
Well,
out.
thank you.
I was gonna say, it's like, all right, we're being observed.
I can't even figure myself
Just
out.
making sausage here, so it's not very attractive.
Queens. All right, old business, and we can roll it up in new business, so no one has any old business. I think, Dan, you indicated that we're good to go with the topical descriptions with respect to zoning,
Yeah,
so everything's submitted.
they were printed, they were out there, yeah. Whatever they look like is what they look like.
So when are you doing the video?
Well,
that's
easy.
yeah.
It's- All right, so we've done that, but I guess there's a maybe an appetite for doing another informational video similar to what Board of Selectmen and Planning Board's done in the last year or so. We did the same thing last year where we basically just put it out on public access, and then it was put on a loop,
Yes, put it on public access, definitely.
just so.
People still watch.
Now, if anyone has a burning desire to do that, saying that, no, I want a chance at the video production of it, then, we'll,
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't mind stepping aside.
get the makeup crew in here and everything.
Exactly, we can do wonders
A lot
with
of makeup.
CGI,
I'll put it on the front page of the website. So
What's that?
I said I'm going to put it on the front of the website. So you just have to be ready for that.
Okay, good, thanks. All right, so we can explore that with Dean, like he did last year. So,
I think the timing of that should be about the same time, about a week before.
You did well.
That's
Yeah,
usually
I
when
thought
you
that
put
was-
it out.
That was
Yeah.
very good. That was excellent. The timing was good.
Yeah, because we've been doing it for a few years. We started doing that, the selectmen, and
Tim used to do it all the time.
Yes, Tim.
but if you do it too far in advance, then it loses it.
Yeah, it loses its shock value.
Yeah, then everyone looks at it. Usually about that week before, about 10 days maybe
Yeah.
before.
That's when you want them to remember it anyway. According to the vote.
I don't necessarily have anything else in terms of new business.
That'd be good.
Okay. I do just have one thing.
I'll make a motion that I approve that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
How about this? I make a motion that we're not gonna, your one thing's done.
Right at 8 o'clock. Perfect.
Do you have anything? Do you have anything?
No.
All right, just
Go ahead.
one,
I'm kidding.
just one last thing, and it just sort of kind of ties into the master plan and such. I would really, really be interested in sort of having sort of an affirmative answer or something like that, because we've talked about traffic calming and speeding, and I think we have a warrant article that we put out there where, we're talking about maybe, employing a police officer and specifically tasking them for, just running speed in those areas on Main Street.
It would be all over town. It wouldn't just be.
Or all over town. But I really would, kind of like maybe an answer or maybe some information on the fact that why can't we? I mean, if it were a detail, if we had a detail, we go out and we pay or contract with someone to come out, do a detail. There are terms of details. It could be a part-time police officer. It could be some other sworn officer from some other location in New Hampshire. It could be with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department, right, where, you're tasking them to negotiate for, like, hypothetically, not telling anyone, what it would look like. But why can't something look like Monday through, let's say Monday through Thursday? Let's say we said Friday wasn't a day that no one, and we said that from 8 or 7 to 10, and then also like, the rush hour times of, was it like 3 to 5 or something like that? Where they run, where you contract with them to run radar and do speed enforcement, and whatever that agreement looks like, and for whatever duration of time. It doesn't even have to be every day. But it doesn't involve employing an officer, paying benefits, and training them up if they haven't gone through the academy. But it would be sort of an immediate type thing. And you would do that with a detail of any kind. I mean, when 125 was happening and there's work going on, I mean, every police officer in New Hampshire that needed to do detail work was there. Okay. So I just don't, I think, it'd be great to employ another police officer, but if we needed to do something where we can just sort of saturate and sort of control what it is that we want to do, maybe it costs less. All right.
Well, you know what would be really good? Now that's an excellent idea. How about another police officer or someone for the elementary school that used to always be there for the control of cars, buses, in and out? I don't know how long we've done this, and I can't believe it, but there has never been a safety guard there at all of any kind, and we've always had one there.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's
Then
been
the-
too long.
And then the school took it over, and I think they've tried to find someone, and they haven't.
But the traffic's getting worse, and
Oh, it
this is
doesn't
the
get
time
better.
when we need it back.
It doesn't get better, I hear you.
Right, so what your idea here, hiring somebody,
I'm just saying conceptually. I mean, I'm not, like I said,
well, he could start out here for the morning at school and then go on to his other regular.
or whatever that looks like,
Yeah,
But I'm just saying that I think, I mean, I know that the county's always looking for work, shall we say. I mean, we're in anything that's revenue generating. So, if we had a specific request like that where we needed sort of the equivalent of someone running radar here, and here, and then leave it up to them where to move from those locations. So, I mean, I don't know what that would involve. If it's, who would actually reach out and ask for those types of quotes is see if there's any bandwidth anywhere. Maybe it doesn't even make sense. Maybe it's something that's so ridiculous that you're like, no, it's worthwhile to hire a new police officer. But I just thought that was a part of the discussion that was not really fleshed out. So,
I mean, to me, we got to do something sooner rather than later.
Right.
I'm not generally indifferent to cost, and particularly cost that ends up the burden of the taxpayer. But, you know, I live on Main Street. I see the traffic. I'm up early. I'm just telling you, it's worse. And it's more serious. And to me, you know, not like a Chicken Little, but it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when.
When?
You know?
Exactly.
And so there's things, I think there are things the planning board could do. And one of the things is, you know, we did reach out in the informal process to you know, one of the companies that's pushing the trucks down Main Street. And I haven't really seen a decrease in that. There's no sign there that there should be. So I was hoping to have it tonight, but I just didn't get to the whole thought process. Is I got an outline of why I think their site plans are linked and they need to stop the sign. And I think they need a letter, you know, from us.
Yep.
And I think it needs to be polite, but
Firm.
with stern encouragement
Better word.
to stop the trucks from coming down here.
well,
Because I will tell you, some of the bigger trucks, the ones that were primarily from Tormeo, because
Yeah.
I see them, you know, the efforts of the police and the sheriff had an impact, you know, and just look at the number of stops and the number of violations that were going on there.
Yep.
You know, some of those things were just, you know, not only the speed, but just the vehicles themselves were
Nice.
completely unsafe.
Right.
You know,
Done.
so I mean, I think whatever we can do in any way, any capacity, no action is too minor. We should do it.
well, let me ask a question with respect to, you know, site plan linkage. I mean, we have an argument can be made that they are, correct? I mean, is this something that we want to have reviewed by anyone just to?
Yeah, we can send it to council.
Yeah, and if it is reviewed by council and it is seen as like, no, you have a point, then we should probably send a letter of some
Yeah,
kind.
and I'm not saying, you know, we've started off with the informal process, you
Right.
know. I mean, I happen to know the person. I can pick up the phone and call them and just say, hey, you know, heads up, you got something's coming, something may come your way after council reviews it. And I don't think it should threaten a revocation of a site plan. I think that's a tool that stays in the toolbox until everything else doesn't work.
Right.
What's the point? But it should, you know, focus on our intent to enforce the site plan.
Right.
All right, fair enough.
Yep. Enforcement. Period.
I mean, we reached out to 3 parties. 2 of them complied fairly quickly.
Yes. All right, so why don't we commit to doing that then? You know, just sort of
I'll
like
have
make
the
the
draft
argument,
for next
and then,
Make the
you know, then
argument.
perhaps if we have to have it
It's short
reviewed.
but sweet, but
Okay.
Okay.
I do have something just quick to add to that conversation because I know code enforcement was working on this and had some conversations with DOT. So I have an email that I can share you all from DOT just stating that they don't support putting restrictions on driveways that connect to state roads for access. And that they have the ultimate jurisdiction regarding access on both sides of the state roads. So I have some copies if you want me to hand this out.
Yep.
Sure.
but just something else to add to the conversation.
Well, I mean, there's the restriction already there. It's, on the site plan, it's required, and it's been there for a while, so.
Well, I think that's the, yes, there was already a restriction there, so we're not imposing new restrictions. And then I think in the context of stuff that I can remember, at least from some of the applicants, it was a concern that was put out there, and the applicant indicated that they were amenable to, that type of arrangement. So,
Trucks prohibited. That's the sign we need. Yeah.
okay, so the operative thing is that signs will not be placed within the DOT's right of way. So that's fine, right? So if we put a restriction of some kind, we just don't have it put in the
Yeah, how about
DOT's right
trucks
of way.
prohibited?
All right, so. But like this enclosure here where you have trucks prohibited from
Yeah.
turning right and such,
Yeah,
but that's in the town's easement, correct?
I don't know off the top of my head
Yeah,
exactly
I
where
think-
that.
This one is.
Yeah.
That one's in
It's
the-
actually in the easement restrictions to use that's town property.
right,
Yeah, so,
right.
But so the one at Methuen also restricts now town trucks as well. So
Oh.
town trucks, because it can't be subject to specific users. So town trucks now have to loop all the way around if they're trying to turn.
See?
The restriction, though, is in the easement given to Methuen Construction. Is it in any property restriction on the town property? Because it's two separate parcels,
Yeah.
right? So the town garage is a separate parcel than the access, that's small piece of the driveway. I'm looking at you, Bill, seeing if you remember.
I'm trying.
I thought they were.
I'm getting older,
Yeah, I know. I thought they were. I can't say. So remember, the restriction is in the easement to Methuen. It's not a general restriction. I don't see how I don't see it unless it's also in the easement, if you will, given to the town garage.
Is that something legal might need to?
It would
look at?
have to,
Yeah.
it would have to be looked at just to make sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this planning board didn't put any of those restrictions in. These are
No.
we're inheriting them.
Yeah, that would have been a while ago.
Yeah, we're learning. Yeah,
And I'm not picking on, I'm just saying
Yeah.
these things have been on site plans for a while. They were reviewed by legal.
yes.
But in the town garage wasn't always there either.
Right.
no,
That's only there in the last 10 years.
here's,
Yeah.
yep,
Again, New Hampshire DOT can do whatever they do,
Right.
The town has its responsibilities.
Yeah.
It needs to exercise those responsibilities.
yep.
All right.
Very
Anyone
good.
have anything else? Anything from staff?
Well, I just put your first financial update in the back of your folders. So if that looks all right, I'll continue doing that for all the workshop meetings.
Oh, jeez.
And just give
You
you guys
just,
an idea.
the only thing,
Very nice.
I like the brevity of it. If you can just expand the list of where the fees come from.
Okay,
So by applicant.
I can do that.
No, that was very good.
And next meeting does look like it's going to be pretty busy. We've got 7 applications, I think, on there. So,
said 7 applications?
Yep.
Okay.
So bring the coffee and the pajamas and
So
all that.
who do we have?
So we've got 2 that are being that have been continued to that date. So we've got
Oh, let me
205
guess
Plastow
which one
Road,
that
Yeah.
is.
27 Garden Road, which was the preliminary that was continued. 65 Plastow Road is coming in with their amended site plan. And then we have 3 conceptuals. And then against my recommendation, one of the conceptuals also submitted their full subdivision application as well. So
So they're doing
I
a
have to put
conceptual and
on the same meeting.
same day?
Yeah, but we don't have to accept that. The conceptual we can listen to, and we don't, just like we did
So
to her.
who are the conceptuals?
We've got 22 Danville Road, Haverhill Country Club, and then the subdivision, which is off of Hoyt Farm Road.
Okay.
That's the country code. That's the same, right?
Is that the same one?
It's near the country club, but the country club is doing something as well on their property, and so that's a
Okay.
separate.
Okay.
Oh, so it's all
They're
set.
2 separate.
Oh, okay.
They're the 2
Okay.
separates, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's
All right.
that subtlety.
Well, you've had your warning order. Busy next meeting.
Has the Garden Road, have they responded to Steve Keach's comments?
I have not. Nothing's come through me.
Okay.
All right. Nothing else? Then at 8:16, I'll close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.